Hi, I'm Shirley with Heal Wellness and Therapy, and today we are going to tackle something real fun. We're tackling the abdominals, but maybe not the way that you often think of the abdominals. This is not a therapeutic yoga class that you will do crunches or sit-ups or planks. This is going to be an abdominal class that is using things that you can use every day to help strengthen the front side of your trunk and support your back from ever having harm. So, my friend has joined me today, and we're going to begin our abdominal strengthening with something that really is important for people to understand. And what that is that laughter really is the best medicine. When you laugh, it occurs with the exhale. As you exhale and you laugh hard enough, not only do you fully contract all of your abdominal muscles, but you even get to the point that you fully contract your pelvic floor. There is no better way to support your pelvis and your low back and to gain strength through the front side of your body than to laugh. So, are you ready?
Ready.
All right. So, on 3. What we're going to do is we're going to laugh as loud as we can and as hard as we can. And as we laugh, I want you to think about your belly jiggling. I want you to think about getting every last bit of air out of that exhale as you laugh. Got it?
Got it.
All right. 3, 2, 1. I felt it in my abdominals. Did you feel it in yours?
Absolutely.
Now listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're somewhere and you think that you're going to pee in your pants, it is not an old wives' tale that if you laugh, you're going to pee in your pants. But I will tell you, if you laugh hard enough to get that full exhale out, you will tighten that pelvic floor and quite possibly not pee in your pants. All right, let's move on to the floor and working the muscles of the abdomen. All right, so let's move off of the bolster and let's get you on your back. So lay through your side, please, on the left. And as he lays to your side, it's important to never kind of go into a full position of sitting back and crunching downward. It's very aggressive for the discs of your low back. So I always encourage people when I teach yoga to lay through their side and then roll onto their back. As you lay onto your back, have your shoulder blades underneath you. Make sure your neck feels nice and long and your chin is resting into your throat. The tongue rested on the roof of the mouth, and you can just relax your eyes, open or closed, whatever really works for you. Let's take our right knee and bring it to our chest. As we bring our knee to our chest, let's take a nice deep inhale here. And on the exhale, pull the knee nice and tight into the chest. One more breath, deep inhale in and exhale. Slowly lowering the right foot to the floor. Taking the left knee to the chest. Nice deep inhale and exhaling here. Nice deep inhale and exhaling here. Slowly lowering the left foot to the floor, resting in that position. Now, to start working on those abdominals. As a physical therapist and as an instructor with the Institute of Physical Art, check them out if you're interested. We like to think about the abdominals as muscles that sometimes have difficulty initiating and getting strength. So we're going to do exercises today that are somewhat yoga-based, somewhat physical therapy-based to help you really understand how to not only strengthen the muscles of the abdominal area, but to get the right muscles to strengthen. So, friend, let's take that right knee to your chest. Take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, pull that knee deeper into your chest. Good. Now, in this position, Slowly start to bring the knee away from the chest until you get to the point that it's not stacked, but slightly in front of. Very good. Let's take our toes and point them up, and let's drop our heel so that it's below the knee. From here, he's going to take his hand and place it on the front of his thigh. Left hand, best thing to do, place it on the belly so he can feel those muscles contract as he begins to do this exercise. Allow the neck to be lengthened and the chin to be tucked. Very good. Tongue to the roof of the mouth. The roof of the mouth with the tongue resting position also is the highest point of engaging your core, if you like that terminology when we talk about trunk stability. In this position, begin to lightly push the hand into the knee and the knee into the hand. As he lightly pushes the hand into the knee and the knee into the hand, there is also a little bit of a tractioning motion as he's pulling his fingertips up towards the ceiling. Feel the shaking happening and then start to work on breathing. So inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling, working on breathing, working on shaking, trying to get to the point that we either get through the shake or that we hold that breath for a solid 10 seconds. He's almost there. Let's do one more inhale. And one more exhale. His shake is almost gone. We're going to move on from here. So slowly allowing him to lower his right foot to the floor. Taking the left knee to the chest. Giving it a nice good hug. Deep inhale here. Exhale, pulling the knee into the chest. And then slowly letting the knee come away from the chest to the point that it's in front of the hip, not stacked on top of the hip. Taking his right hand, placing it in the abdomen region, taking his left hand and placing it on the front of the thigh. The toes are pointed up, but the heel is below the knee. In this position, imagine that as you're wrestling, you begin to engage force to force. He's lightly engaging force to force as he feels his abdominals contract. Starting to feel the shake. Allow his fingertips to feel like they're pulling upward as he contracts his hand into his knee and his knee into his hand. Now begin to focus on that inhale and that exhale. The shaking is what you want. Really, the ultimate goal is, can we get all the way through that shake? With enough breaths and enough resistance light enough, you can. Deeply inhaling, deeply exhaling. Let's do one more breath. And then slowly lowering the left foot to the floor. Now taking a break from the abdominals for a second, mostly to make sure that we can get the opposite muscles of the body also a little bit stronger. We're going to do a little modified bridge. So this is a block. There are three options with using a block. If you use a block the narrowest, versus you can use a block the middle of the road, or you can use a block the widest. So my friend has fairly wide hips, so we're going to allow his to go into the widest position today between his knees. Now that he's there, as he begins to squeeze his knees together, his inner thighs start to contract, and then that also allows him to contract his pelvic floor. As he does that, he now knows the muscles in his abdomen that need to contract because we just did an exercise to get those muscles to contract. So he begins to harden his abdomen muscles into his fingers or slightly push his fingers downward to feel his abdomen harden. Now, as he begins to gently push his feet into the floor, he's going to take a nice deep inhale. And as he exhales, he's going to slightly lift his pelvis and bring his knees just over his toes a little bit. Now, in that position, he squeezes the block. He tightens his abdominals. He pushes his feet into the floor, and he imagines himself bringing his knees forward. Then he slowly lowers the legs, dropping the pelvis. All right, let's do it one more time. Start to squeeze your knees together. Start to harden your abdominals into your fingers. Start to push the feet into the floor. Take a deep inhale here. And then on the exhale, imagine those knees coming up and over the toe as the pelvis lifts. Now, modified bridging here so that it's more about the strength, not about arching of the back. Oh, he's shaking. He's using muscles. Can he hold it? Now keep it there. Don't let me move you. Can you hold it? Now he's breathing. He's tightening. Squeeze the block. Push into the floor. Tighten the abdominals. Take a deep inhale. And exhale, slowly lowering the hips to the floor. Very nice. Releasing the block away. Going back to the abdominals. So really focusing on the abdominals today, but making sure that the abdominals can move even though you use back muscles as well. So we've done his right knee to the chest. We've done left knee to the chest. Well, I say it's time to do both knees to chest. So in the Institute of Physical Art, we do a very specific exercise for bracing and initiating the abdomen region. We're going to go through that today in all 4 steps. First time I will talk you through it and him through it. The second time we'll talk through it with breath. Take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, pull your knees up and into your chest. Nice deep inhale. Exhale, pulling the knees into the chest. Now, slowly start to take your knees away from your chest. Find that point where your knees do not stack directly on top of your hips, but they're slightly closer to your chest. Take your toes, point them upward. Allow yourself to keep your heels below. In that position without holding your legs, if you feel that you're stable, start to place your hands to the front of the thighs. With the hands to the front of the thighs, begin to very lightly push the hands into the thighs and the thighs into the hands. Keeping the spine nice and stable, begin to feel that little shaking that occurs. Then start to slowly lift the fingertips as you feel the traction moving up the legs. Try not to squeeze around the legs, but to push into and lift. Continuing to gently push into and gently lift, feeling that whole shake. Then thinking about inhaling and exhaling to not allow yourself to hold your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And inhaling and exhaling. Now slowly relaxing, bringing the knees to the chest, giving them a hug to open up through the low back area. Take a deep inhale here and an exhale. Bringing the knees back to their start position just in front of the hips. Toes are up. Now, let's think about those other abdominal muscles. So up to this point, we have primarily focused on the transversus abdominis, the lowest abdominal muscle, but really all of the muscles fire. Now, we want to encourage more people to come to the party. So if we take the left hand and place it on the right thigh, the right hand and place it on the left thigh, and create some rotation into the system, it'll allow even the abdominals that do more rotation to start to also work. So once we're there, keeping the toes up, heels, keep them dropped below your knees, neck is nice and long, spine is nice and stable. Begin to push the hands into the knees and the knees into the thighs. Lightly pushing to engage. If you go too far, too hard, you'll feel it in your hips. Then again, feeling like you're trying to lift the leg bones by pulling the fingertips lightly upward. Getting that shake of that body. That's trying to get those muscles to really fire and eventually strengthen. Now begin to breathe. Inhaling and exhaling. Continuing to inhale and exhale. Ultimately getting all the way through that shake and then 10 seconds. We're going to do one more breath. And then slowly bringing the knees back to the chest, giving all the muscles a bit of a break. Take a deep inhale here. Exhaling, pulling the knees to the chest. Back to the start position. Step number 3. This time, we're going to focus on the back muscles as they contract with the rest of the abdominals and trunk muscles. So the hands are going to come to the underside of the thighs. The knees are in the same position, but now the toes will be pointed downward. From here, begin to gently allow the hands to push into the thighs to push into the hands, feeling the back side of the body contracting. Holding that position, not allowing the back to arch, not allowing the neck to move. Feeling that shaking occurring, keeping the toes pointed, deeply inhaling, deeply exhaling. As the resistance is occurring, the back muscles that are our deep stabilizers, also known as your multifidus muscles, are starting to contract and fire and say, oh, you want me in the party as well. Holding until the shaking ends, maybe plus 10 seconds, but for him, we're going to do one more breath. Deep inhale and exhale, and slowly bringing the knees to the chest. All right, step 4. Well, the good news is it's just like step 1. So stacking the knees back into its original position, toes, bring those back up again, hands, place them on the front of the thighs. Relax your neck, relax yourself, make sure your spine is in a neutral position, and start to play that game of the hands pushing into the legs pushing into the hands. Try not to curl around the legs, but rather think about the fingers pushing upward and pulling upward as you resist, feeling that nice strong shaking. Likely this time around, the shaking going a little further, quicker away, but the focus on the breath. 2 more breaths. And slowly relaxing the knees to the chest. Now, let's give him a little bit of a break. He's working really hard, and so are you at home. So with your knees to the chest, without pulling the knees to the chest, just allow yourself to take a deep diaphragmatic breath. Stretch the abdominals, stretch the back muscles, stretch the rib cage. And as you exhale, let your body soften. Nice deep inhale. Exhaling, just letting your body soften. Last hurrah. All 4 steps together without a break. Are you ready to do it? Ready to do it. Stack those knees in the position so that they're in front of the hips. Toes are up. Heels are dropped below the knees. Hands are on the thighs but not clasping around the thighs. Fingertips are pointed upward. Begin to lightly push the knees into the hands into the knees. See how he immediately starts to get his abdominals firing and shaking? He's breathing. Let's breathe, ladies and gentlemen. Nice deep inhale in and exhale out. Continue that wrestling match, keeping everything stable. Deep inhale in and out. And one more breath. And not changing the position, but just changing the hands. Left hand to right thigh, right hand to left thigh. Start to feel the contraction of the hands into the knees into the hands. Toes are still up, heels are still dropped, neck is nice and long. Lightly pushing one into the other until the wrestling has begun, and start to pull those leg bones upward. And don't forget, we have to breathe. Inhaling and exhaling. 2 more breaths. And exhaling. And exhaling, staying there at the legs, but uncrossing the arms and bringing them to the underside of the thighs, pointing those toes downward, allowing those hands to hold onto the backs of the thighs, but not to curl underneath, and start to push the thigh into the hands and the hands into the thighs. Toes stay pointed downward. Feel the contraction through the back of the muscles of the back and the thighs. Continuing to push the hands into the thighs into the hands. Start to pull the legs upward as you feel that traction, and breathing. 2 more breaths. You have it in it. You might have rosy cheeks, but I know you're breathing. And then releasing the hands from the underside, going back to the front of those thighs. One last time. He wants to give up. I'm not going to let him. Toes up for me. Get those ankles up and soften the hands. Gently push them into the thighs, thighs into the hands, fingertips up. Traction those hands. Don't forget that you're breathing. Inhaling and exhaling. And inhaling and exhaling. You've got one more breath. Deep inhale in. And exhale out and bring those knees to the chest. Boy, does that feel good. Deep inhale into the diaphragm. Soften the body. One more deep inhale into the diaphragm and soften the body. Now, simple spinal twist today. Gently allow yourself to bring your feet down to the floor. Allow your arms to rest into more of a kind of an outward position. I like to call it either cactus pose, or in the South we call this goal posts for football. Once he's in that position, allow your rib cage to settle and drop. Very good. Bringing his feet together, taking his feet and allowing them just to come a little bit to the side of his mat, to the side of the hip. Keeping his arms engaged. Begin to gently squeeze the shoulder blades together, making it an anchor for his spinal twist. So the spinal twist really focuses on the lower half of the twist today. Taking a gentle inhale and exhaling, slowly dropping the knees gently to the left until you feel you can no longer keep squeezing those shoulder blades together. Not worrying about any rotation of the head since we've got our shoulder girdles nice and firmly engaged onto the mat. But really focusing on breathing and opening up through the side of the body. And one more breath. Beginning to squeeze through the shoulder blades and the upper body first, then with the right rib cage bringing it back down to the mat, followed by the low back, the pelvis, and the knees. Then gently allowing the feet to come to the left side of the mat, engaging through the shoulder blades, allowing the upper part of the body to stabilize onto the mat. Taking a nice gentle inhale, slowly lowering the knees over to the right side, allowing the pelvis to lift, the low back, and finally the rib cage, keeping those shoulder blades engaged, head in neutral today, focusing more on the lower body as we open up through all of these abdominals that we strengthened. Gentle inhales and exhales. Then starting at the left shoulder blade, bringing it down, left rib cage, left low back, left pelvis, bringing it back to the center, bringing the feet back to the center, and slowly bringing one knee to the chest, followed by the other knee to the chest, giving it a nice, good last hug. Nice deep inhale, nice deep exhale. And gently dropping the right foot to the floor, followed by the left. Finding the left leg, sliding it down to the corner of the mat, followed by the right. Once we're in that position, gently allowing the arms to fall to the side of the body. Making sure there's no tension anywhere in the body. Resting the body down to the mat. Softening the body. Softening the abdominals, closing the eyes, resting that tongue on the roof of the mouth, and doing a quick little guided meditation today. So our meditation is simple. I want you to visualize a soda pop can. Now, you pick whatever flavor, whatever company you want. And for those of you watching, stop drinking soda pop. But we're going to visualize a soda pop can. As you visualize that soda pop can, first think of the label. Get your mind really thinking about that can. What color is that label? What size is that can? And then think about the top of that soda pop can. Very top of that soda pop can. I want you to imagine that for a second. As you think about the very top of that soda pop can, in real life, that is the very top of our core. It is where your vocal folds sit. It's where you rest your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And then, take your imagination and think about the bottom of that soda pop can. Are there any indentations? Any numbers? Anything that you visualize on the bottom of your soda pop can? One thing I want you to pay attention is that usually it's not perfectly flat. It usually has a little bit of a shape to it. Imagine the shape to the bottom of that soda pop can. That, in our body, in our core, is our pelvic floor. And now, think about the entire label around that can. If you think about that label around that can, that is what you focused on today. The abdominals in the front, some hip flexors, some back muscles, everything that supports the top to the bottom of that can. So look at your can. See how upright it is, how strong it is. Imagine your core, your trunk, that upright, that strong. And slowly begin to wiggle your toes and your fingers. And then when you feel like you're ready, gently slide one leg up, followed by the other. Allow yourself to gently roll to one side or the other. Take a moment there, and then when you're ready, slowly allow yourself to use that top arm with a deep inhale and an exhale, and push yourself up into a seated position. Hands are to our hearts. Do we feel stronger?
Definitely.
Definitely stronger. Let's take a nice deep inhale in and out. Namaste.
Namaste.
The highest in me salutes the highest in you. Well, thank you for joining me today. I hope you're feeling stronger through that trunk. How did you feel with that laughter?
Enjoyed the laughter. It
Well,
was a lot of fun.
It was good.
But tell me why laughter is good medicine for me.
Oh, that's a great question. Well, we've already talked about how laughter really helps you strengthen and engage the muscles of your abdominals. But here's the thing that most people don't think about with laughter. When you laugh on the exhale. So do that for a second with yourself. Inhale. It's on the exhale. Now try this. Try to laugh on the inhale. You can't do it. And so by laughing, it allows you to extend your exhale out. Well, we know with the autonomic nervous system in our body, there are two sides to that, the sympathetic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. When we focus on that exhale, we know that that allows us to tap into that parasympathetic nervous system, that relax, rest response. And so even though you're laughing and you're having fun and you're strengthening abdominals, the other thing you're actually doing is you're calming your nervous system by creating a relaxation response through the nervous system. It's such a great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now, if you like this video, press the like button, ask any questions or comments, I promise we'll return, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and select the bell if you'd like to be notified of future videos. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.